What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin, and today, first I want to start by saying this deck is very bad, and this is not how kaijus are meant to be ran, but I did anyways, and I feel a fair bit guilty about it. But yeah, if you can't tell, this is well, for the most part, anyways, pure kaijus. If you are unaware of what kaijus are, then I don't know how you're not aware of what kaijus are, but just in case, they're these big monsters that special summon themselves to the opponent's field by tributing one of theirs. Then, if your opponent controls a kaiju, you can special summon from your hand a kaiju. You can only control one each player can only control one kaiju, I should say. And that's kind of a common effect text on all of them, so getting that out of the way now. Uh, as you can probably tell, while they are technically an archetype, it's a little hard. It would be a little hard to use them, but yeah, I thought it'd be fun to try to use them on their own, and I did find a few ways to make it work, I guess. But yeah, so we already went over the main kaiju's effect text of tribute, summon, control. Now for their other abilities. You see, the kaijus all revolve around a concept called kaiju counters. Various spell traps and stuff get it, and the archetype. Our primary methods of getting to it are the kaiju files and Kyoto waterfront, and they all have different abilities when you remove X amount of counters. For example, Radian, by removing 2 kaiju counters from the field, can make a token copy of itself. The sea turtle, Gamacil, by removing 2 counters on the field, is able to negate anything as a quick effect, as well as banish whatever it negated. So, then that's not a hard once per turn, I should say. So you can keep doing that. Dogeron, by removing 3 kaiju counters, it blows up all monsters on the opponent's field. However, it cannot attack that turn. And Thunder King, by removing 3 counters, lets you make stuns your opponent's cards and effects for the rest of the turn, and it can make up to 3 attacks during the battle phase that turn. So, those are their unique effects. The best ones are generally Radiant because it's the only real way to get swarming, and the Sea Turtle because negates. But they all do have their own various uses. Now, the problem with the deck, as I'm sure you will have noticed by now, is that in order to summon one to your field, you need one on your opponent's field. And if your opponent does not play monsters or just isn't summoning them because they know what's up, then you just can't play really. But don't worry, because Monarchs have an answer in Mithra the Thunder Vassal. She is a level 2 Thunder monster that can special summon itself from your hand. However, it will give your opponent a token. Now, normally, this is a terrible, terrible thing because you don't want to give your opponent more tokens. You don't want to give them monsters. Like, you don't want to do that. However, in the case of Mithra, it's great because if our opponent's just not playing monsters, we special summon her with her effect, give them a token, then we can kaiju the token and get our own play started. So it's a really cool tech card, and I enjoy it a good bit. And it actually does work, so that's pretty nice. Now we'll go over our 2 other primary methods of getting kaiju counters, the kaiju files and Kyoto Waterfront. Starting with Kyoto Waterfront because it's probably one of the deck's more recognizable cards. But yeah, it is a field spell, and it says that each time a card is sent from the field to the grave, it gets a kaiju counter, maxing out at 5. And once per turn, when it has 3 or more kaijus, you can activate another effect, which lets you search a kaiju. And it also can protect itself from destruction by removing 1 kaiju counter from itself. So generally speaking, this is going to be your bread and butter. Like you really want to get to the waterfront to make just any plays because it is pretty nuts. But yeah, so it constantly supplies. As far as the alternate method though, we do have the kaiju files. It has a different condition for getting kaiju counters, which is the special summoning of kaijus from the hand or grave. and it also maxes out at 5. And once per turn, it lets you target a kaiju monster on the field, destroy it, and then replace it with a different kaiju under the person who controlled the previous kaiju. And you can send it with 3 or more counters to the graveyard to add a kaiju spell trap from your deck to hand, except for itself. So it's a good alternate method, and if you're doing a lot of special summoning, which at times will happen, it's just oh, it's a good way to have more counters, and it's all right. Our last kaiju support card is Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. It is Dark Hole. However, afterwards, it will summon 2 kaijus, one to your opponent's field, one to your field, in attack position. And the turn it is in the graveyard, or after the turn after, I should say, you can banish it to search a kaiju. Obviously, clearing off big boards makes this incredible going second card. It gets monsters online, and it also just seriously boosts the amount of kaiju counters you have. So run it free at all times. It's just insane. Now our last our last cards in this deck are honestly just to sort of protect our board, because you will only have 1 monster on board. We have Compulsory Evacuation Device to get our kaijus back or just bounce a opponent's monster. And then I had to resort to Floodgates. Please don't judge me. I hate myself for it too. We have Summon Limit because generally speaking, we will not summon more than twice in a turn anyways, and that can really mess up some decks. The Dark Door because generally speaking, we will only have 1 big boy on the field, so being able to reduce that battle damage as much as possible is always a good thing. And there can be only 1, which says that you can only control 1 of each monster type. That's generally not a problem, seeing as all of our kaijus are different types, but it is a good way to get around some decks like Salamangreat, and yeah, and Salamangreat. I can't think of many other pure decks right now. I guess some Guard Dragon variants you could also work it with, but yeah, it's a oh, it works with the deck pretty well. We don't really care about the extra deck. It's just kind of general stuff because we never go into it, and it's mostly fuel for Pot of Extravagance. Oh, we also have a Terraforming to search Kyoto Waterfront. Forgot to mention that. The one that is really mattering is Barricade Borg Blocker. It requires 2 monsters with different names, which we can make, and if it's link summoned, you can discard 1 card, and then during the end phase of that turn, you can add a continuous or field spell from your graveyard to your hand. So yeah, it's just a good way to sort of get searches and recover. It's helpful to have. You usually never go into it, but it can't hurt. Now for the side deck, we have 3 more kaijus in the form of Kumungus, the Sticky String Kaiju, in case our opponent is doing things with just lots of attacking and we need more kaiju. If our opponent is using kaijus for some reason, the Super Anti-Kaiju War Machine Mecha Thunder King. Now this card's a little complicated because despite being in the kaiju archetype, it goes against your opponent's kaijus. You see, what it does is you discard it, banish a kaiju you control that is owned by your opponent, and then special summon something from your graveyard, and then during your end phase, if it is in there, it special summons itself. So yeah, it's a good sideboard card in case of like a really weird mirror match. But no, generally speaking, it's a perfectly fine sideboard. We also have free Call by the Grave to deal with hand traps, free Twin Twister to deal with spell traps, and free Storming Mirror Force to punch away big scary boards that we can just sort of attack into next turn. But yeah, that's the deck. If you're new here, we just go over a couple replays. I show you the deck's weaknesses and strengths, things going well, things going not so well, so on and so forth. But yeah, all that being said, I'll see you guys in the first replay. All right, everyone, welcome to the first replay with Hellbrim. I checked his list just now, and I think he's just playing like Mech Knight World Legacy things, and now there's a double passe here. What's this even do? Let's see, when an opponent's monster closes an attack on a face-up attack position monster you control, make your opponent's attack a direct attack. Instead, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the attack target you control. Also, that monster you control can attack only your opponent directly in the next turn. That's not very good. I'm sorry, Double Passe. That's just not very good. But yeah, so our opponent's playing a really weird deck. Oh, also, I need to say the curse word at some point because I heard YouTube's doing some weird things. I am still a very small channel, so I don't know if that'll affect me, but I'm gonna. I don't know. I guess I'll be safe. Just I don't know. Fuck. There. You heard that, YouTube. But yeah, so our opponent's playing a really weird deck, and we opened up actually very well here. We had the Pot of Extravagance, Terraforming for the Kyoto Waterfront, Kaiju Slumber to break boards. It's very good, and we're going second, which is ideally what you want to do. So our opponent's going to just set the World Legacy Awakens and pass. Obviously, as you can tell, it's rough because we can't really do anything now. So we do have the Pot of Extravagance to help, thankfully. So we're banishing 6, drawing 2. We got the Kyoto Waterfront, which is pretty good. We're going to go ahead and activate the Terraform to get another. Mostly to send the Terraform to the grave to get a counter on the Waterfront, as we did. Then, Mithra the Thunder Vassal. So we special summon our own effect, give our opponent a token, and then we slumber and I might have misread the card, but I'm pretty sure you have to be blowing something up. So we can blow this up, but even if we didn't have that, we could still pop a kaiju onto his field, pop a kaiju onto ours, and then just sort of go in. So that's pretty great. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and use the Vassal, get rid of them all with the Slumber, give ourselves a Radiant, give our opponent a Gamecill. We're going to go ahead and try to use the Kyoto Waterfront effect, forgetting about Gamecill's ability to just, oh no, wait, actually no, I remember how I planned this. By removing the 2 counters of Radiant first, he was not able to use enough counters to use Gamecill to negate. Okay, yes, okay, that's why he did not stop that. But yeah, so it's battle phase time, just going for a bop bop, get another counter on the Waterfront, so it's all pretty good. Then as our opponent's turn once more, they're able to start doing Mech Knight things. Get 2 more counters. He searches our World Legacy card, gets the Lavender out, keeps going off Mech Knight plays, pops our Radiant, summons the Orange Sunset, goes into the Spectrum Supreme a little too soon, I think. I feel like it was. I mean, I guess you could go off the reasoning that maybe I had another Slumber. But at the same time, I feel like he might have gone into Spectrum Supreme a little too soon. But yeah, he's going to go ahead and attack directly for 3,000. Then it is our turn once more. We're going to go ahead and Kaiju that Spectrum Supreme because it will not blow up because on the effect of Slumber. Then Kyoto Waterfront's going to go ahead and get another counter. Well, asserts right now. Our opponent's going to go ahead and activate the World Legacy Awakens to perform a Link Summon. Makes the Mech Knight of the Morning Star. We go ahead and search a Thunder King. Morningstar is going to search him the World Legacy key, which on activation gives him a banished World Legacy card back. So we're going to go ahead and banish Kaiju over the Morningstar because let me tell you something about Morningstar. Morningstar is annoying as all hell to get over. It creates the condition that it can only be destroyed by battle or you take battle damage if it's in the same column. So it is just much easier to tribute it and get it out of the way. But yeah, so because our opponent has a Kaiju now, we are able to special summon Dogoron, whose effect we will use by removing 3 Kaiju counters, popping our own boy, getting a Waterfront token. However, Dogoron will not be able to attack this turn, so we just go in with Radiant. So, quick little pop as our opponent's turn again, and he gets his Lavender back because of stuff. He's going to banish it to search. He gets blue. Blue searches him indigo. He's going to go ahead and just keep going in, making a. He's actually going to normal summon a World Armor, and normal summon World Armor is actually kind of strong. You wouldn't expect it to be, but it's not. It's actually pretty dope. against like just spot removal for extra deck stuff. But yeah, so the world armor is going to search him the secrets, which negates monster effects as well as acting as a monster reborn for not monster reborn, more of a call of the haunted for mech knights. He's gonna set it, so it is our turn once more. We activate the Pot of Extravagance, obviously. Draw some. We get more counters on the waterfront. Waterfront's gonna search us Radiant. We go ahead and kaiju his armor with our Radiant. Then we use the effect to blow up everything, getting more counters on the waterfront. Attack directly. Our opponent is going to get some monsters back with his effect. We do have the evac though, so it's fine. The evac's now dead because there are mech knights in its column. He's able to attack over our stuff. We get counters on the Kyoto waterfront though, so we're back to full. And it's our turn once more. We activate the Slumber, get a couple monsters out, normal summon Vassal for that last little push, attack, and it's game. So yeah, against slower decks, this deck is actually kind of strong. It can go first, technically. It's just extremely hard for it to do so. But yeah, it's not bad, and against more casual builds like this one is, it's a lot of fun. But now we're gonna get into the not so pretty side of this deck. And yeah, I'll see you guys there. Alright, on to the second and final replay with Player. He is playing a Grin Maju thing, and we have opened up with 0 monsters, no Kyoto Waterfront. So yeah, it's a little rough. But yeah, let's go and get right into this replay. So we are going to, well, our opponent's just going to pass, because not much you can really do with this. I guess he could have summoned Eater of Millions? Maybe? I don't know. Yeah, it's our turn now. So we're going to draw, activate Extravagance, obviously. We did not draw anything helpful, so we just set the 2 evacs, summon limit, and there can only be 1. My hope here was that we could just stall long enough for him to try to summon a monster. But yeah, our opponent does have the Lightning Storm, though, so, rip us there. We did get a monster finally, so we activate another Indulgence. We finally get the Kyoto Waterfront, but no way to send anything to the graveyard. So we are just going to set the summon limit. Our opponent once again passes. Not much we can do. We go ahead and activate the Dark Door just to have that up. Our opponent top decks another Lightning Storm. So that was upsetting. We do get the Dark Door back, I guess, so that's something. But we still can't summon our monsters, unfortunately. So he does Desires, gets stuff, Necroface, summons Grin Maju at 3800. Or, sorry, the Eater of Millions at 38. Grin Maju's at 12-8. 12-8. And he's just going to attack directly for game. And yeah, that's basically the weakness of this deck. While there are options like Mithra and Slumber to just sort of get your plays moving, even if your opponent doesn't do anything, it's still extremely difficult to get your plays moving because you're not always going to have those. So yeah, that's why I think this was a fun casual deck. Nothing super competitive, but it is a little bit of I don't know, it's a little neat, I think. But yeah, those are the replays. That was the deck. Let me know what you guys think of the deck in the comments. Any ways I could improve it while keeping it pure? Was it I mistaken to think I could make it pure? Should I try something else with primarily kaijus? I don't know. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. But yeah, that all being said, like if you liked, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off.